Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning. It is Wednesday, November 7th at 6 a.m., and we are the Scout Team coming at you hot and live like we do every Monday through Friday. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yes, that is true. Thank you. And the man on the other microphone is the great patriot himself, the Election Day King, known as
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this Wednesday morning, November the 7th. We are here live every single day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we rewind it, replay it, redo it at 11 a.m., so please tune into those days as well. If you cannot make it to 6 a.m., Loudbeard, I lost an election last night, buddy.
You know, it was a big day for America. There was a lot of great candidates out there, but there was only one real candidate that made an impact and won the election last night. And that's the only candidate that we will talk about today. And I'm just going to leave the floor wide open for you as you discuss what happened in the polls.
You know, I pushed forward Amendment Kyrie yesterday. Amendment Kyrie went to the people, and I wanted to get him passed as a top 10 NBA player. And alas, the people have spoken. And in America, Loudbeard, when the people speak, we listen. And the people say that Kyrie Irving is not a top 10. Even though it was a close election, it was a very close election, I still lost, and you are correct. I concede the point to you, sir. Congratulations, Loudbeard. Kyrie Irving is not a top 10 player.
But he is a crybaby, and we all know that for a fact.
Yes.
So maybe that did not help his stance. When he came out and said, I'm a crybaby, I like being a crybaby, I want to throw basketballs up into the stands and whine about what other players are doing, that's what really did not help his campaign. We sat here and we discussed, is he a top 10 player? Well, maybe he is. He can't stay healthy, and he whines a lot, and even more so. And all of these attributes do not lead to a good candidate being a top 10 NBA basketball player. So, Kyrie, the people have spoken, and you are not a top 10. And I already knew that, Chris America. I just wanted the people to back me up so that you knew that. Now, do you feel good about the results of this?
I mean, I feel whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. I'll move on to the next election. I'll move on to the next poll. I feel better than what Kyrie Irving feels, and he not only lost that poll, but he also lost $25,000 to the NBA for throwing that ball. The NBA fined him $25,000. Now, Loudbeard, this is what always makes me think about money and how much of it there is in the world. If I lost $25,000, it would take me it'd be a car payment. I'd have to pay 60 months. I'd probably want to extend it out to 72 months just so I could have lower payments on that. But this is like a drop in the bucket for Kyrie.
I know, isn't that wild? The normal person, the regular Joes, the average guys like you and I, we sit there and we say, okay, $25,000, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Even if you're well financially, that's a big deal. But these guys are making to the moon money, and they're making millions of dollars. That's probably a game check, for Kyrie. And you sit there and you wonder, is that fine even going to do anything? He sits there and he says he's going to accept the fine. He understands, but he doesn't agree with it, and he's still upset about it. Even after the fact, when the NBA levies the fine, he's sitting there and he's still complaining, and he says Jamal Murray will be back. I'll get to face him again. I mean, it's not like it's a grudge match. I mean, why is Kyrie making this a big deal? I guess I don't like Kyrie anyway, and this is just making me like him even less.
Yeah, this is a really bad look. It's almost as bad as pitchers throwing balls at heads of people who flip bats. It's kind of like, dude, get over it. Like, somebody had a great night. They showboated a little bit. We all do it. I don't know why we get mad when other people do it. So get over it, Kyrie, and we'll get over it too. What else we got today, Loudbeard?
Well, Kyrie Irving is a Duke basketball legend. So we'll segue that into a new legend at the University of Duke, and that would be Zion Williamson. This kid has been touted for many years, a young basketball player coming up through the ranks. He's a high school kid that now is getting his shot, and last night did not disappoint. This is going to be the next superstar in the NBA, a household name for years and years to come. And last night, Duke, behind Zion Williamson and another phenomenal young player, R.J. Barrett, these two guys, they just lit the world on fire, and Duke absolutely steamrolls Kentucky. We're talking 118 points from Duke. I don't know about you, Chris America, but I'm thinking Duke has already won this thing. I'm overreaction Wednesday. I'm crowning Duke the NCAA champions after game 1.
And you know, I can't say otherwise right now. I know that it's most likely not going to happen. It's very difficult to work your way through the tournament because it's an actual playoff. You have to win 7 games, I believe. It's 7 or 8 games you have to win in a row against really good team. But you can say that tonight, Loudbeard, or today, this morning, because they played the number 2 team in the nation right out the gate. Right out the gate, they're playing top competition because that's what we get in college basketball. Not only do we get a playoff, Loudbeard, but we also get top competition against each other. And this is like Alabama steamrolling, I don't know, Clemson 75-7. That's what this score was like in terms of basketball to football.
Yeah, I knew this kid was going to be great coming out just because of all this, the hype and the speculation in Zion Williamson. But Duke doesn't just have him. They've got just a whole stable of great young players, and it looks like they have won the offseason. All of these one-and-done guys playing for Coach K. I don't see anybody even coming close to what Duke is going to be doing this year. I think this is going to be one of those years where we look back and we say this was one of the greatest college basketball teams that we've ever seen. Now, that's pending that there aren't any major injuries and based on one game, that's the overreaction I like to do. I can't just say, hey, we watched the whole season and predict it. I only like to make bold predictions after one game. And after one game, I can say that this is the greatest Duke team I've ever seen. And there have been some great Duke teams out there, hasn't there, Chris America?
There have been, and it's also pending a FBI investigation that has Zion Williams as one of the mentioned people who was shopping around for money. And then he's like, I got all these money offers from people, but I'm going to go to Duke, who didn't offer me any money. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I saw on Twitter yesterday there was a tweet that I thought it was kind of funny. It's probably a little too topical, but, we'll go with it. It said, once Zion Williamson makes it to the NBA, he'll have to take a pay cut.
I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I should have had the sound effects ready, huh?
Yeah, and this may be the last time we see these kind of teams because the NBA is changing. They're starting to figure this whole thing out with the one and dones, and this might be the last great college basketball player we see.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. You know what we should do? We should do a special where we do the scout team watches Blue Chips, starring Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal, and do just a little special where we discuss the greatness of paying basketball players and making movies about it, starring Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway.
Anthony Hardaway.
Yep.
Great time. How that movie did not win an Academy Award, I don't know. And how Shaq has never won an Academy Award for Best Actor just shows how ridiculous. He's amazing. I mean, did you see Shazam?
Actually, I don't think I ever saw Shazam, but it's good, I bet.
Me neither, but I saw the previews and he looked good in them.
Yeah, like there's that one what is it, a GIF or GIF or whatever, where his ears pop up and then they shake and it's kind of funny? You've ever seen that one? No?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, but I won't say that.
Sorry,
I'm not going to sit here and call Zion Williams LeBron James, but I feel like last night is what it would have looked like if LeBron James would have played in college basketball. Just overwhelming the other teams, just dominating. He would have been a man among boys. I mean, could you imagine if LeBron was on Duke or Kentucky or Florida or Kansas or Michigan State, any of these big-time college basketball teams? It would have been an interesting sight to see.
Yeah, I like the fact that these kids have to go to college because it makes college basketball interesting. Now, if I'm looking at it from a perspective of what's best for the kids that are playing and what's best for the NBA, I would say the one-and-done rule is probably not the best deal, but I want to see these young, talented guys go through college basketball. I think they need to have at least 1 year to develop before they go into the NBA. When they go straight into the NBA from college, I feel like it was missing something. There's a few guys that did it really well, like your Dwight Howards, like your LeBron Jameses, but there were some guys that really went into the NBA right away that never quite materialized, and I think having that season in the college basketball setting would have helped them out. It would have helped develop their skills and better prepared them for the NBA. I think a high school kid should not just jump into the NBA. That's how I feel. Now, if the NBA decides to do this G League where they're able to get, it's almost like a minor league contract where they can come play for a year in that and then go to the NBA, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I just don't like the going straight from high school into the NBA. I just don't think 18-year-old kids are ready to be out there. It just, I don't know. What do you think?
I see that, but my old position has always been the same with the alcohol and drinking. If you can send an 18-year-old into war zones and let them get shot at and shoot other people, we can let them drink, we can let them play basketball, we can let them play baseball. Like, they can handle it. We know they can handle it because we throw 18-year-olds into war zones all the time. I think if you're going to have a rule that makes them stay out of the NBA, it has to be 2 years. If you want them to go to college, at least let them get their associate's degree. Don't have them on campus. You mentioned how Kyrie was a Duke legend. Kyrie was probably on campus for like 3 months, and that was it.
Yeah,
he doesn't really have to go to class once the basketball season gets underway, and he's declared for the NBA draft. So it feels like kind of a money-grabbing type deal for the NCAA more than it is anything to do with the players. So if the NBA wants these kids to grow up and mature, they're not going to do it with 1 year of sitting on a college campus for 90 days or however long they're on campus for a semester. They're going to need 2 years if you really want this maturity level thing to go through. So I'm more of the type of either put them through the NBA right away or do like college football does or the NFL does and make them sit out 2 to 3 seasons.
I guess that's the heated debate this morning, huh? Making the kids go to war and play basketball.
That's right.
The great patriot himself has spoken. When the great patriot speaks, we all must listen.
Unless it's Kyrie Irving being top 10. Then you don't have to listen because he's not anymore.
No, he's done. No, just throwing out stats at you because we want to put everybody to lull them to sleep this morning. Zion Williamson had 28 points, 11 for 13 from the field last night. R.J. Barrett with 33 points. Duke, unstoppable. Another great game last night. I caught some of this. This was a lot of fun to watch. Kansas up against Michigan State. Kansas took a pretty big lead, but Michigan State stormed back, but Kansas ends up taking it in the end. They have a big guy in Kansas. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Joel Embiid, and Embiid was on the sideline just enjoying this game, relaxing. He's a Kansas alum. And this guy, Azubuike, who is a just huge guy, center for Kansas, had a great game, but he's also kind of like a new Shaq. At the end of the game, when they needed clutch free throws, he was getting fouled. He's up there, and he's just bricking like you wouldn't believe. He's 3 for 7 from free throws, and he's just another, I guess, stereotypical center who cannot make free throws. I think these guys, once they get to like 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet, they all of a sudden say, oh, I'm just so big, I don't need to shoot free throws. I don't get it. I think this is like a basic skill that every NBA player should at least be a 50% or higher guy, probably should be 60, 70%. And I know these guys are just college basketball guys, but free throws, man, that's like tackling. It's like watching UCF miss tackles against Temple. It hurts my feelings.
Does it now?
Yes. So, as a Buki, you need to make some free throws. I'm done with you, man. I'm done with you. But your team still wins. Kansas, big win over Michigan State, 92-87. And one last game that happened yesterday, not a huge implications on this one because it is just the first game of the season, but we call this a rivalry. The Florida Gators go up against the daunted Florida State Seminoles. Who comes out with a big win there? You think Florida or Florida State? Chris America, who ends up with the big win last night?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, we'll move on.
No. The Florida State routes Florida, and I think I got to be over your boy's brother, man, Coach Mike White. He's the brother of Danny White, the AD of UCF. I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to move on. He's been okay. He's been good at times, but I mean, he took us to the Elite Eight a season ago or 2 seasons ago. But it's just he doesn't have it. This is his third loss in a row to FSU. We were totally embarrassed. We weren't even close to being in this game. I think for like 5 minutes we were. And it's time for Mike White to go, I think.
Yeah, you need some of your guys to channel their inner Joakim Noahs and their inner Al Horfords. But you're not getting that, are you? You're just not getting those legendary players coming through Florida like you used to have.
No, what I need them to do is channel their inner Lee Humphreys and make some shots. The shooting has been the biggest problem with this basketball team the last 2 seasons. They're okay defensively to great defensively, but when it comes to shooting the basketball, and you mentioned how your feelings were hurt about missed free throws, Florida has been awful at shooting free throws, and it's bad, but you also mentioned Azubuike. FSU, this guy's 7 foot, Azubuike is. FSU last night, I have to look up their roster, but they have a 7'4" guy on their roster as well. UCF has Taco Fall. What is he, like 7'7"?
Yeah, 7'6". He's the tallest guy in college basketball, man. He's fun to watch, too.
Is the big man coming back to basketball, Loudbeard? Are we getting away from small ball with all these 7-footers in college basketball, or do you think the NBA is going to look at him and just keep on moving?
No, I think they're making a comeback, but you're getting more of the athletic 7-footer. So before in the NBA, it was like that big, slow, plodding, I'm going to kind of be a tree, root myself in the paint, and I'm going to gobble up rebounds, and you're going to throw me balls, I'm going to dunk it down. And I think it's evolved where if you are going to be a successful center in the NBA, yes, you can be 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot, 7'1", but you have to be super athletic. And, you know, I look at some of these guys in the NBA now, and a guy like Rudy Gobert, he is a defensive monster, super athletic, tons of blocks, and he is a great center in the NBA. And he's a tall guy, and he's exactly what the NBA needs. We do not need to be all small ball. I think there is a place for it, and I think it is coming back. But I think these 7-footers, they're really getting tested. If you're slow and you're plodding and you're not able to just stay into the game, you get winded easily, you're not going to make it. But if you're one of these guys that's like an athletic freak, this is where the NBA is going. They need guys that are 7 feet and just over-the-top athletic and able to shoot. I think that's another thing. I think centers in the past, all they had to do was perfect their little sky hook or just do the dunk. A guy like Tyson Chandler just gets picked up by the Los Angeles Lakers. He's been known as being a defensive monster, and he gets a ton of dunks. That's all he does. But I think the defensive side is always going to be valuable, but you still have to have a shot. And a lot of these centers are able to maybe post up from the free throw line, hit shots, and if you can have a good shot and you're athletic and you're 7 feet tall, the center spot is definitely on its move back, but it's just a small select few guys that can really do it in the small ball era.
Yeah, the person you want to look forward to or look to learn your or teach your game, or I'm having a hard time talking right now. Anyways, if you want to look at an NBA player, probably a Hall of Famer. I feel like he's a Hall of Famer. People might disagree with me, but Dirk Nowitzki is that 7-footer that you're talking about. That athletic, can shoot outside, can play the whole entire floor, doesn't just stand there like a tree. So if you're in college basketball right now, 7 feet and above, you just need to watch film after film after film of Dirk Nowitzki and, mold your game like his.
Yeah, and I think Anthony Davis right now is another one of those guys. They dub him as power forwards, but he's really more like a center, and he's almost become like a point center. I think Giannis is the same way. These guys are so tall, but they can handle the ball, they can shoot, they can kind of do everything. They become like that all-around player, and that's when centers don't need to be pigeonholed into just one area that they need to be able to do everything. Handle the ball, play defense, whatever it takes. It's like Dwight Howard when he played high school. He was the point guard.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. We need more Dwight Howards in the world.
Except for Dwight needs to learn how to shoot outside of the paint.
Okay, too soon.
Too soon.
He's
okay,
Orlando Magic
so
legend.
Loudbeard, I'm sitting here looking at the basketball top 25, because we're talking college basketball, and you know what? As I'm looking at it, you know what it means?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Because
Zero.
I don't care who's 1 or who's 25. The only thing that matters at the end of the season is what your record is and what the committee or the committee thinks, and they'll select their 65 or 66 teams, whatever it is now, and they'll go through it. But last night, Loudbeard, after all the election stuff, a committee got together and put together the most god-awful top 25 we've seen to date, and the committee is now completely exposed. LSU only drops to number 7. Florida, my Florida Gators, whom I watched, get utterly embarrassed by a Missouri team that has not won an SEC game. The only SEC game Missouri has won is against Florida, and they routed them. They dropped to number 15. UCF, Loudbeard, doesn't move an inch. Not one iota of an inch.
Yeah, I think at this point they are using UCF as an example. I think that the pride has been hurt by some of these other big programs. The CFP committee, their pride has been hurt. They're like, oh, you think you're going to claim a national championship? We'll show you. You're never going to get a shot. We're going to keep you exactly where you're at. A team like Syracuse with 2 losses in the ACC, which is a down conference right now, moves up, and they're 13th. They are 1 spot behind UCF. I personally think, and this is just... I think this would be the most fair scenario, that there should not be a 2-loss team ahead of a undefeated UCF. I'm okay with the 1-loss teams being ahead of it, saying, oh, strength of schedule, oh this, oh that, oh whatever. But when you have a Power 5 team with 1 loss ahead of UCF, I can live with that. That's what it is. So UCF should at least be at 10. But when a 2-loss team like LSU that just got absolutely stomped on national television only drops to 7, no, that's not right. There's nothing in there that says that that's right. It's just, there was another team in there. Was it Ohio State with 2 losses that was ahead of UCF? I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. But whatever it was, I just don't agree with the fact that a two-loss team is ahead of an undefeated team. And even some of these 1-loss teams, some of these losses were bad. I guess Ohio State only has 1 loss, but, the losses to Purdue. I mean, just whatever it is that the committee is thinking, I think at this point it's just to make a point that UCF shouldn't have never claimed that national championship, and they want to prove that UCF's never going to get that shot. And it's almost comical at this point. You can't even put any real logic to it, no real sense. And I'm tired of it wasting my energy and my emotional well-being thinking about this, because it's never going to change right now. You got to just move forward, and UCF's going to do what they've been doing. They're going to play 1 game at a time. Hopefully they can continue their undefeated streak. What I'm waiting for is every team eventually is going to lose, and when UCF loses, the whole world's going to come pile on like, oh my God, you guys are such losers. Yeah. That's what I'm waiting for.
Right now, I don't even think this has to do with UCF anymore. I think this is the College Football Playoff Committee needing to set their narrative. They've made up their minds who their top 4 teams are. That's Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Michigan. Then they've made up their minds who their outside shot people are, which is Georgia and Oklahoma. Those are the 5 and 6 spots. And when you look at the teams that they moved up, so we mentioned that UCF did not move up at all, and these two teams so Florida got routed by Missouri and dropped 4. Then you go and you look at what other teams are doing in the movement rankings, and right behind UCF is 2-loss Syracuse and 2-loss NC State. Syracuse moved up 6, and NC State moved up 7. Loudbeard, if I told you they moved up 6 and 7, you would think they routed Oklahoma. One team routed Oklahoma at number 6, and the other team routed Michigan at number 4. Right? That's what would constitute that kind of no. Syracuse beat a Wake Forest team who has one win in the god-awful ACC. Wake Forest is 4-5, and they have one win, and they didn't even really rout them. It was 41-24. Then you look over at NC State. Who did NC State beat, Loudbeard, this past weekend?
I can't remember. I'd have to go back to the record books.
You would have to go back to the record books because it's one of the most forgettable teams the last 2 seasons, and that's 4-5 Florida State. And they routed Florida State, yes.
Ooh.
But
yeah,
Florida State
like
is 2-5 in the god-awful conference. So you're telling me the committee looked at Syracuse and the committee looked at NC State and who they played and who they beat, and they said, yep, that did it for me. I'm going to move them up from number 20th or 21st all the way up to 13th or 14th. No, they're just – these are 2 teams that they know Clemson has to play or that they've already played, and so they need to set them up with those wins. Just like Alabama, they need to set up Alabama with LSU up there. Mississippi State at 6-3 has to be around 16 because they're coming up on their schedule. They don't want to drop Texas too far out of the top 25, even though they're on a losing skid. I think they've lost 2 in a row now, and they've only dropped down to the 19th ranked team. But because Oklahoma lost to them, we can't drop them out of the top 25. We can't put a playoff team who's lost to a non-ranked team in our playoffs, so let's keep them around there. It's just, I'm over it, Loudbeard. I really am.
I'm over it too.
It's made college football worse. It really has, because it used to be that college football was a playoff. Every game matters. Now, no game matters. None of these games matter, Loudbeard. When they drop LSU to just 4 spots down, that tells you that 29-0 loss and the 8-point loss to Florida, who just got routed by Missouri, they didn't matter. Those games didn't matter.
I can't agree with you any more than I've already agreed with you, Chris America. We go through this political season, and you think that all of the BS that hovers around all these political ads is all the shenanigans that you're going to get. But no, the College Football Committee decided that they are going to give us even more shenanigans. I thought the political just BS would be over, but it's not. It's all about politics. I call shenanigans on the CFP, and if I say shenanigans one more time,
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
So I call shenanigans.
Well, Loudbeard, I think we should go to commercial break before you get pistol whipped.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Save Loudbeard from getting pistol whipped. When we come back from commercial break, we will see if Loudbeard gets pistol whipped.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh, yeah, the Jefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb. Do you own a small business? Are you looking for solutions to all of your communications problems and challenges that you have? Check out Ring Central. Give them a call. They have partnered with 12ouncesportsradio.com to give you the best rates on all of your business and office solutions for communication. Give them a call today. We have a dedicated line for all of the 12-ounce sports radio listeners. It is 1-877-779-3860. You will get a representative on the phone who will help you with all of your small business communications needs. Once again, give them a call today, 1-877-779-3860.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Yeah, welcome back. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, and you are listening to the Scout Team bringing you Scout Team Sports. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard, and we are always excited to be on the radio every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., and again at 11 a.m. on 12-ounce sports radio. And if you miss us, there's good news. You can always check out the old episodes, the whole library of the greatness known as Scout Team Sports. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and anywhere you listen to a podcast, including our website, scoutteamradio.com. Also, we like to get interactive. We like to tweet. We like to be all over the place. You can catch at Scout Team Radio on Twitter. If you want to reach out to us, we read tweets on the air. We like to get interactive. We're also on Instagram and Facebook at Scout Team Radio. And with that being said, wow, what a beautiful day, Chris America. I'm ready to get into some great sports news, and I needed to bring this up. You sent me this yesterday, Chris America, and I saw it. The news has been swirling around. But my Nationals have sent, at least at the end of the season, sent over a very, very aggressive offer to Bryce Harper, saying, we want you. America wants you. We are Washington, the capital of the United States, the greatest country in the world. We want you to stay in Washington. We want to elect you, Bryce Harper, to be our guy. And it sounds like Bryce Harper rebuffed this great offer. Chris America, do you think this was a smart move by Bryce Harper? I think he's wanting $400 million. Do you think somebody's going to pay that guy $400 million?
I don't know, but we'll find out. I think it would be dumb if you paid one player $400 million. If that's a 10-year contract, that's $40 million a year. I don't know that Bryce Harper is going to bring you in the production that you need to justify that cost, because you're going to end up being the Anaheim Angels. You're going to end up being what the San Francisco Giants were with Barry Bonds. We've seen this time and time again, where there's the one or two high-paid, lucrative deal offers, and those baseball teams don't do well. What happened when Barry Bonds finally retired from the San Francisco Giants, Loudbeard?
The Giants, I mean, the whole Barry Bonds situation, he was old. There was all this, controversy around him. People were booing him. They didn't even want to see him out there. I mean, it was a mess at the end of Barry Bonds' career.
But what happened after that? What did the Giants do after he left?
I don't know. What did they do?
They won the World Series.
Oh, yeah, without him. Yeah.
They won a
that's
World
good.
Series without him because they finally could afford other players and to build an actual baseball team. Now that big Barry Bonds contract was gone, and if I'm not mistaken, they won it a couple of times. If my memory serves me, back in like 2010, 2011, 2012, the Giants were an it team, and until recently they've fallen apart. But for a good 5, 6, 7 year stretch after Barry Bonds left, the Giants were one of the top teams in Major League Baseball, and it's because they were able to build an actual team of players that were good. And you're not going to see many baseball teams. I think the New York Yankees are the only team that are able to get away with it. And even then, when Aaron Judge's contract comes up, when his rookie contract is up, we're going to see the Yankees make some tough decisions that they have to make. If they want to be the contenders that they are today, they're going to have to get rid of one of those guys, either Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton. I think Stanton's going to be the one to go. I think Judge is definitely a pinstripe for life.
Yeah, that's a good assessment. Now, the Angels, you bring them up. I think that was one of the big contracts, the most recent ones, and that was Albert Pujols. Now, Albert Pujols was a little bit older, and they knew that 10-year contract that they gave him for bazillion dollars, that he wasn't going to perform so much on the tail end of that contract, but they were hoping for more performance on the front end. But they really haven't gotten the same Albert Pujols like he was with the Cardinals. So this has ended up being a disaster of a contract, and I'm hoping that is a cautionary tale for some of these other Major League Baseball teams where you look at that and you say, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't commit 10 years to anybody. Is anybody worth a 10-year contract? Now, Bryce Harper is a 26-year-old young guy. He's already made like 6 All-Star appearances, which is amazing for his age. And, you're thinking of the future, but he really didn't have a great year. His batting average was down, and, he's still a great player, and he brings in a lot of excitement to the team, but I don't know if it's worth it. I got to say, I know that it's not worth 10 years, $40 million. Absolutely not.
No, 10 years to me it's a long time for a coach, and it's an even longer time for a player, especially in baseball where there is no out. Once you sign that player for 10 years, that's your responsibility for the next 10 years. So if Bryce Harper goes out and bats a 125 average, you're stuck with Bryce Harper, the 10-year, $40 million a year, 125 batting average. That's your bed. You have to lie in it. For me personally, I personally think that no contract should be over 3 to 5 years. That's just me though.
Well, that's what the NBA had to come out and do. They had all those really just bad contracts for years and years and years. And they came back and said, you know what? Max is going to be a 5-year, but that's going to be the extension contract. Most of these guys are getting 3-4-year contracts, and that's really what it should be. The Major League Baseball should do that also. The Players Union in Major League Baseball seems to run it, though, so I don't know that they will ever get that change across because it's so much money to these guys. But these 10-year deals are ridiculous. Now, Harper, his deal with this aggressive offer that the Nationals put forth, it wasn't really disclosed exactly what the offer was, but it sounds like it was around $30 million a year and that there weren't any opt-outs in it. And I think maybe that was an important notion for him, but we don't know what the length of the contract was. This could have been a 3-year, $90 million deal. And if that was the case, maybe Harper thinks he can get a 10-year deal worth $40 million a year somewhere else. And I just don't know that the market's going to yield that to him. I think even these big teams like the Red Sox and the Yankees, they've already spent a lot of money. They don't want to put that on their books. And some of these other teams, you see a guy like Robinson Cano who goes from the Yankees. He's a household name, and he goes to the Mariners, and you kind of forget about him. He's very forgettable now. So, and the Mariners aren't winning any championships. So you get out of the spotlight, and even paying that guy, it's not like it moved them up to be a playoff caliber team. So I just don't see that these guys are worth it. Now, like the Dodgers did a 3-year deal with Clayton Kershaw, and I know pitchers are a completely different animal. I think a 10-year deal on a pitcher would be ridiculous, but a 3-year deal, I think it was worth $80, $90 million, something like that. That's a great deal for Clayton Kershaw. It's good for both parties. I love it. I don't think we need to go 10 years. I think, if anything, a team, if they offer him a 5-year deal, I can live with that. I think that's what he's going to get. He's going to get an offer for 5 years. maybe $35 million a year, maybe $30 million a year. That's $150 million right there. If it's a 5-year, $30 million, that's a great contract. That's what it should be. That's the max that he should be offered. And somebody's probably going to pull the trigger with like a stupid contract, but maybe not. This is going to be a hard market to see. I think some of these teams have gotten a little bit smarter when they've seen that these investments don't pay out when they do such long term. You know what? We could see another Bobby Bonilla contract, though. You want to see another Bobby Bonilla?
I mean, I can go for another Bobby Bonilla. We have a Bryce Harper day.
Bryce Harper day.
Bobby Bonilla day.
Yep.
Yeah, I could go for
coming.
that.
I love it.
Well, we about baseballed it up. I think we've said all we could say about baseball. It feels like it's going to be another 2 more minutes and then baseball season will start over again. But let's talk a little bit about hockey season, Loudbeard. And the one thing I wanted to talk about that jumped off the page to me yesterday is that a coach with 3 Stanley Cup championships, that's a guy that has a job for life, right, Loudbeard? If a guy wins you 3 Stanley Cup championships in 11 years and the last one coming in 2015, that's your guy for life, isn't it?
I mean, if the Giants refuse to bench Eli Manning after he's absolutely awful because he's won 2 Super Bowls, I would say a coach that's won 3 Stanley Cups, he should be a made guy, set for life.
Not the case in Chicago, man. You go 6-6 to start out the season, you are out the door. Get out of here. 500, not good enough. We're going to get rid of a 3-time Stanley Cup champion coach, and we're going to bring in who exactly to replace him?
I don't know. Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky.
It's just a guess.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
Am I close?
I think so. I think you're close. It's going to be somebody who's Canadian, I'm going to assume.
Oh, Canadians. They're very nice people.
Canadians.
And they're good at hockey.
They are good at hockey.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
Ladbeard, I think sports is just turning awful in general. I don't. If a guy that wins 3 Stanley Cups and won one 3 years ago or 3 seasons ago isn't afforded a 6-6, a 500 start to a season, I don't know what's wrong with sports fans these days or sports franchises. I don't know where we're going, man. I don't like the direction sports is going. We used to think it was just a Florida Gator thing or an SEC thing. It's an everywhere thing now, man.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of loyalty in sports. It's win now, and as soon as you are not valuable to me, if you cannot continue to win, that's when you are disposable. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It's all about the present and the future. And if you cannot deliver in both of those, you are gone. And, sometimes it's a personality thing. I look back at Jimmy Johnson. I think Jimmy Johnson was an absolutely phenomenal coach when he was with the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones wanted to get involved a little too much, and Jimmy Johnson's gone, and he moves on, and the Cowboys still win another Super Bowl, but that was like the beginning of the end for that Cowboys dynasty. And you would think, okay, a coach that has won 2 Super Bowls, how would you ever want to leave this program that is still just all this potential? And it's because of personalities, and there's egos. In the sporting world, everybody thinks they know the answers. Everybody's got this opinion, and I don't know if this was the case with the Blackhawks decision, but maybe it was an ego thing. Maybe it was a personality thing. Maybe it was just, hey, this is business. We want to be champions every year, and if you can't win it every year, you're obviously a schmo, and we need to move on. It's hard to say, but you're right. It gets kind of dirty. It gets messy, and the loyalty is gone, and I just don't like it. I just don't like it one bit.
And I know that a coach will take that job. You'll be stupid not to take that job, but it'll be hard to take that job if you come in as the new coach and you're sitting here thinking, man, what kind of job security do I have if the last guy they had won 3 Stanley Cups? That means I have to equal that production value or I'm going to be out of there. And I said this before about Nick Saban. Alabama fans think Nick Saban walks on water, but I guarantee you if next year he goes 8-5 and the year following that he goes 7-6 and the year after that he goes 8-5, there is no doubt in my mind Nick Saban will be forced to retire.
I don't know. I think he'd have a little bit more than that.
I don't know, man. We see it with this guy who won 3 Stanley Cups and he's out. And I have a feeling that I do know that the Chicago fan base is very passionate about the Chicago Blackhawks, but they also have the Cubs, the White Sox, the Bulls. They have other things to focus on when the Blackhawks are down. Where the Alabama Crimson Tide football fan in Alabama, that's it. That's all they have. There is nothing else for them to focus on other than Alabama football.
All right. Well, that could be a debate for another day.
Well, Loudbeard, I got one more hockey story, if that's okay with you.
No, go ahead. You're the hockey expert.
It involves coaching and an Uber. A bunch of Ottawa Senator players got into an Uber a couple of nights ago, and they do what you always do in an Uber car with your buddies. You just start talking trash or whatever. Like if you're with coworkers, Loudbeard, do you ever complain about, like maybe not now in your job now, but like in previous jobs, you've complained about a boss or two or maybe the CEO or how things are being run at your job, right?
Or a co-host.
Or a co-host. Yeah, definitely a co-host.
Yes. Yeah. I've
Especially
done
if your
that
co-host
before.
is Chris America. I totally get that.
Yes, for sure.
Well, some Ottawa Senator players got into an Uber that had a guy recording for his safety, which is understandable. And they start, talking about how bad their coach is, how bad he is at PK penalty kills, and they just start running their mouth. And now the Uber driver has released the video, and it's a big embarrassment for them. But to me, that's not the biggest issue here, Loudbeard. Do you know what the biggest issue is for me?
That hockey players are taking an Uber?
No. That
Okay, what's
the Uber driver broke the
Guy code.
The guy code. Like not just guy code. To me, an Uber car is sort of like a confession window or what are those things called?
Taxi cab confessions?
Taxi cab confessions. Like at a Catholic church where we go into the confessional. That to me is it's supposed to be private. It's supposed to be between you and the priest. It doesn't leave. Just like when you go to a counselor, there's rules that say the patient client confidentiality. You're supposed to have that with your Uber driver. Am I mistaken on this?
I don't know that we've gotten to that point, but now that you say it, yeah, that guy has no integrity. I'm going to say the morality is gone in the world when the Uber driver you can't even trust.
No, you can't trust the Uber driver with your darkest, deepest secrets and just where you're shooting the S with your friends and everything else. Did we have a haunting? Did I hear a haunting in the background while I was talking?
I didn't. There's usually never a haunting. Do you think he would jump on for the last 13 seconds?
I think he would.
If that doesn't call him out, I don't know what will.
I could have sworn I heard him turn his mic on and heard that loud, because he always has his gain up really loud, and you can hear the background air flowing through his house.
You hear a speck of dust.
When you listen back to the show, you'll hear it.
Yeah. Okay. We've been haunted one too many times.
All right.
We know what a
so
haunting
any
is
other?
like.
Those are my final hockey thoughts. Other than the fact that the Lightning are kicking A and taking names, we're chewing gum and kicking A, and we're all out of chewing gum. Loudbeard. The Lightning are doing fantastic. I watched them play last night. They beat up who did they play last night? I watched 2 hockey games. I know Detroit played.
Did you say chewing
Vancouver.
gum and kicking A?
Yeah.
You
And
killed
we're all
that.
out of chewing gum.
You totally killed that. No hockey for me. I mean, Tampa Bay Lightning, they're my favorites to win it all this year. After last year with the Capitals, I want to see the Lightning win. So I'm glad that they're starting out hot, but I have not kept up with hockey. Right now, it's just kind of overwhelming. You got professional football, you've got college football, you've got NBA, now college basketball, you've got hockey. This is like a great time to be alive because there is so much sports going on. And
Sports
honestly,
overload, man.
it is sports overload. I've got a few other stories, just random outside the hockey world sports stories if you're ready to move on from hockey.
Yeah. We
You
can
got
move on.
Anything else? You sure?
No.
You sure? All right, so Saints are officially negotiating deal with Dez Bryant. It sounds like Dez is going to the Saints. That must feel good for you, Chris America, since your team, the Carolina Panthers, are in the same division. I would have to say the Saints have seen how well Cam has played this year, and they said, we better load up. We better bring in the big guns and get ready for this Carolina Panthers team. Does this make you feel sad that the Saints, after looking like world beaters, beating the Rams the other day, who was arguably the best team in the league at the time. Saints could be the number one team in the league. They are at an arms race and still picking up talented people to add to this team. Does that make you feel good?
It doesn't make me feel good because we don't play them until December 17th, the third to last week of the season. This is our final stretch. We get at Tampa in December 2nd. Then we have at Cleveland. So that's a good start. And then we have the Saints, the Falcons, and then the Saints. So it's going to be a brutal, race to the finish for the Carolina Panthers, and having to face the New Orleans Saints 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season. It's going to be tough for us in that last final stretch. We got to build up our record, because if we lose 2 or 3 games before that, I don't think we make the playoffs now, Loudbeard. I'm looking at that schedule. I'm just hoping that old Dez Bryant shows up and not rejuvenated young Dez Bryant shows up.
Well, you also might hope that the Saints are resting all their players the last couple weeks of the season.
I mean, that could help us out if they're resting up everybody. If they're
that would be a nice.
If they're 14-1 at that time, yeah, that would be great.
Another big NFL story coming out. Nick Mullins named the starter for the 49ers. Are we going to be ushering in the Nick Mullins era? Is this going to be the next big superstar in the NFL, or is he going to be a one-hit wonder and fizzle away? Is Nick Mullins the real deal?
Nick Mullins is the real deal, and he has another great chance to go against another really bad team. I think they played, the New York Giants on Monday Night Football, correct?
Yeah, that's a confidence builder,
so
right?
Going from the Raiders to the Giants, I mean, you have the best opportunity to start your NFL career looking fantastic.
I like it. I like it. Okay, switching gears, going a little NBA. Russell Westbrook hurts his ankle the other day, and it comes out that it doesn't look like it's anything major, but they're playing the Cavs tonight, and they decided that they're going to go ahead and rest Russell. He's going to miss the game tonight. But what a better team to be playing when you have your superstar hurt than the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, that's like, hey, we can rest all of our starters and really still have a good chance of getting a win here. So we'll see what happens in this game. Russell Westbrook is out hurt, but it's not going to be long-term. I do think that him missing is more important to the Oklahoma City Thunder than any other superstar in the NBA. Without him, he missed the first couple games of the season and then was kind of getting back into the swing of things. They go 0-4. Once he's back and in the swing of things, they win 5 games in a row. They're absolutely on fire. Oklahoma City needs Russell Westbrook. So seeing that it's not a major ankle injury, definitely good news for them. In other NBA news, Tyson Chandler signs with the Los Angeles Lakers. I mentioned that earlier. I don't know if this is going to help. I think the Lakers, I hate to throw in the towel, but I know LeBron's going to kick it in gear and they're going to look a little bit better. But this Lakers experiment does not seem to be working really well.
It's not working terribly wrong. 4-6 is a lot better than what they were when they were, I believe, 2-5 at one point. But yeah, I think there's going to be more changes to come for the Lakers. We already have Magic Johnson earlier this week who pulled Luke Walton into his office and said this isn't good enough, and already, admonishing Luke Walton. Be ready. Loudbeard, I don't think Luke Walton is the head coach after Christmas. I want to say before Christmas, but I feel like right in that Christmas week, right in between Christmas and New Year's, I think Luke Walton will be looking for a new job.
I think they need to fire him on Christmas.
That would be great.
Here's your present. You're fired.
And we will all feel bad for the millionaire who got fired on Christmas, and will be handed millions of dollars.
Sad
and will be handed millions of dollars to go away.
Speaking of a millionaire that we all feel sad for. Oh,
listen
you got
up. Yeah, I just want to tell my job. If you're listening, you can fire me on Christmas if you give me $1 million.
Okay, well, it's good. Good news to hear. One last millionaire story, because we all like talking about millionaires, and that's what athletes are. So our good friend Floyd Mayweather seems to be back at it again. He is working his butt off, getting a fight prepared against some undefeated Japanese kickboxer. This guy's name's Tenshin Nasukawa, and the fight looks like it might happen around Christmas, now that we're talking about it. So why does Floyd Mayweather keep wanting to fight? Do you think this guy got his $200 million and has completely blown it, and now is like, let's see who else I can fight. Let me find other guys in other sports. And they haven't released the rules. They haven't said if it's going to be a boxing match or a kickboxing match, but there is no way I see Floyd Mayweather in a kickboxing match against this dude.
No, and I think it's a little bit of he needs the money. I don't know how bad he needs the money, but he needs money. He likes getting those paydays. And he's still a competitor. I would say that Mayweather is a very competitive person, and it's really hard for athletes to retire. We've seen it before with, Brett Favre. We're seeing it now with Tom Brady. I would assume that Mayweather's the same. He just doesn't want to get out of the game. But his difference is he doesn't want to box. He doesn't want to box actual boxers because then he might lose. He might get beat by a younger guy, and he doesn't want to keep he wants to keep his boxing record, flawless. That's what he wants to retire. So if he does some sort of boxing match with this guy and it's kind of fluky, then it doesn't matter if he wins or loses because it's, hey, this was a fluky fight. This wasn't a real, true, legitimate boxing match. This was like a hybrid boxing type deal that we set up, and it was just for fun.
All right, stay tuned. We will be back on the airwaves tomorrow morning discussing what will Floyd Mayweather's fatality be in the next Mortal Kombat.
I think the Golden Ghost came in, heard we were talking hockey, and then bounced.
That could have happened. Yeah, he's not a big hockey guy. If we were going WNBA, he would have been like balls deep.
Go back and listen. There's right in the middle of it, there's a loud airflow, like somebody turned on their mic.